This is Emily Carney from Space Hipsters, and I'm also a blogger and a writer and a podcaster. I have a podcast called Space and Things that I co-host with Dave Giles, available on any and all favorite podcast platforms. And today I'm here to do a Major Tim Space 10-minute or so video. And today I want to do a video about somebody who is real special to me. And here's Bandit. Hi, Bandit. Today's video is about somebody who was real special to me. His birthday, or what was to be his birthday, is coming up pretty soon. And I'd like to spend about 10 minutes or so talking about him today. So today we're going to talk about Apollo astronaut Al Worden. And in February, his 89th birthday would have come up, but unfortunately last year he passed away at age 88 in March. He was one of the 1966 Apollo astronauts. That Apollo astronaut class is called the Original 19. It's actually kind of a pun or a joke because you had, the original 7 astronauts, you had the new 9. So they kind of gave themselves like a little funny moniker, the Original 19. And there were 19 of them selected in 1966. And this astronaut class had a lot of incredible people in it, and they flew the Apollo lunar mission programs. They also flew in the Skylab program, and a lot of them also flew in the Space Shuttle program. So that astronaut class really accomplished a whole lot. And of course, they were selected in April 1966, and Al Worden was one of them. Al Worden was born in February 1932. Probably the most incredible thing about him, almost to me, is he had a very modest childhood. He grew up on a farm in Michigan. Things were a lot different during his childhood than they would be now. He went to a one-room schoolhouse. It was very modest. He had to do a lot of farm duties, such as taking care of animals. He's done a few talks about this, and, he pointed out, you had to be really self-sufficient on a farm. The animals couldn't take care of themselves, things had to be done. So that's really sort of where he learned his work ethic from growing up, on a farm as a young man. So anyway, when he went to high school, he actually got I think received a deal to go to like an Ivy League type school, but I think he was a credit short in like a foreign language or something like that. So instead he went to the University of Michigan, and eventually he secured an appointment. I believe in his sophomore year, he was able to secure an appointment with West Point, the United States Military Academy at West Point, which is very prestigious. Its graduates have done a lot of things, and especially at NASA, a lot of Apollo-era astronauts had gone to West Point. So he graduated from West Point in the early 1950s, and following that, he entered the Air Force and became a pilot. And when he first joined the Air Force, he'd never flown a plane before, so he didn't know if he would be the worst pilot in the world. He had no idea, but luckily, he took very well to it, and eventually he attended test pilot school, but not in the United States. He attended Empire Test Pilot School in England, and he actually kind of developed quite an affinity with England. Many of you know who many of you who knew him, who met him over on the pond, knew that he was very fond of the UK. He loved visiting there, and he loved the people there. But so he came back to the United States and did go to the United States Aerospace Test Pilot School as an instructor. I think he also was taking the course simultaneously while teaching it, which is kind of a big deal. That kind of shows how highly respected his skills were for the time. So anyway, he decided to apply for the 1966 astronaut class. And of course, he made it in. And the rest is history, but I'll explain a little bit what happened after that. Unfortunately, he was around during the Apollo 1 test, and he was one of the people who had to tell, I think, the support crew, which was, I believe, Stafford, Young, and Cernan, that the Apollo 1 crew had died. So, yeah, that was at the start of his astronaut career. So not an easy time. The fire was not an easy time for anybody at NASA during that time. Um, in 1969, he was actually on the Apollo 12, uh, I believe the backup crew. And yeah, and they had a lot of fun times. He worked in mission control during that time as well. And yeah, they did a funny gag film for the Prime crew. Yeah, it was really pretty cool and a lot of fun. So he worked on that mission. And what we mainly know him from is Apollo 15. He flew as the command module pilot of that mission in 1971, in July 1971, which was almost 50 years ago. So we're going to talk a little bit about what he did. He spent, I believe, 3 days in the command module Endeavour by himself, while his crewmates, Dave Scott and Jim Irwin, walked on the moon and conducted EVAs. They also had the first lunar roving vehicle that was driven on the moon. So he spent 3 days up there, and he wasn't just chilling inside the command module. He was actually doing a lot of experiments. He released a small sub-satellite that was going to detect gravitational differences in the moon's gravity field. And he also took a lot of photos up there as well. So he was actually performing a lot of science up there. He wasn't just, chilling. Apollo 15 was one of the real first important scientific missions that was performed on the moon. And he definitely played a big part in that. So, and I'm just kind of keeping it short. There's a lot you can read about it. There's a lot you can read. And I highly recommend, if you really want to know more about Apollo 15, you have to read, it's probably going to show up backwards here, Falling to Earth. This is his autobiography that he wrote with Francis French. It's a wonderful book, and everybody should read it. It's really cool. So, anyway, he returned from Apollo 15 in August 1971. Shortly after, he worked at NASA Ames. He worked as one of the senior scientists there, and he resigned from NASA in 1975. After that, he did work in some private enterprise. For a while, he was, I believe, a helicopter pilot. And he did a lot of things, he still talked about aerospace. He did a lot of public speaking and things like that. And as I said, he does have a wonderful book called Falling to Earth. If you haven't read it already, you need to read it. And that was released in 2011. So really, in the last decade of his life, he did a lot of talks about that book and really about his experience in space. Another thing he did, which I left out, but was really important, was he did the first deep space EVA. When they were coming back from the moon, he actually got out of Endeavour to retrieve some film canisters and some things, and he performed the first deep space EVA between the Earth and the moon. And there's only one photo of it, unfortunately, and it's of his backside because Jim Irwin, who was supposed to be taking photos, his camera jammed. But that's okay. We still got that one photo, so it's okay. So anyway, and he still holds I believe, the deepest space EVA world record for that, which is in the Guinness Book of World Records. So another thing I would like to talk about is he wrote a couple other books. He wrote a book in the 70s, which is a book of poetry. It's called Hello Earth, Greetings from Endeavour. This is my copy. It doesn't have a dust jacket. And he also did another book with a TV personality named Mr. Rogers. Some of you might know who that is. Mr. Rogers was a TV host, a children's TV host, and very much beloved in the United States. And he wrote a book with Mr. Rogers called I Want to Know About a Flight to the Moon. And this is it's a kid's book, but if it's a really nice addition to your library. It's really got some nice pictures of Al in it. So, yeah, so we're almost at the 10 minutes. And I hope you learned a little bit about Al Worden. Hi, Bandit. Al was a wonderful person. I was very blessed to have him as a friend in the last decade of his life. And he was a funny, A very helpful, supportive, warm person, and I miss him every day. I really do. So I hope in this 10 minutes you learned a little bit about Al Worden, and I hope you read a little more about him. He was a fantastic guy. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, viewers of Major Tim Space. Have a great day.